Well, hi guys, welcome to this Moneycontrol live stream. You're watching Earnings Express with me, Nandita Khemka. Well, we are in the thick of the earnings season. We've already had quite a few large cap IT names that have reported their numbers. Remember, first quarter is a seasonally strong quarter for some of for the IT firms as a whole. But this time, given the kind of macro environment that is there globally, the street was factoring in a subdued quarter for most of the IT giants. Given that, you've seen the likes of TCS, reported an inline set of numbers. Even though they were muted, they were largely in line with expectations. Today, of course, India's second largest IT services firm, Infosys, will be reporting its numbers. Whether or not it can outshine its peers is something that we'll be watching out for. But to break down as to what one should be expecting from Infosys this time around, let me get on board my colleague Chandra Srikanth, to take us through what to expect this time around. Hi Chandra, thanks a lot for joining in. When it comes to dollar revenues and CC revenues, most of these IT giants have seen a degrowth. But when it comes to Infosys, are we looking at a positive CC revenue growth for Infi going this time around?
It's going to be a flat revenue growth, 0.7% is what we are expecting rupee revenue, and dollar revenue a growth of 0.8% at 4591.5 million versus 4554 million. So, very marginal growth. But this is going to come in ahead of its peers. So even if Infosys grows by, say, 0.7 to 0.8% in revenue terms, it will be ahead of its key rivals, because remember, TCS didn't grow at all. Their growth came in at 0%. Wipro degrew by minus 2.8%, and HCL degrew by minus 1.3%. So more or less, the June quarter has been a washout. So people are not really expecting fireworks from Infosys.
Right, no fireworks expected. But when it comes to guidance, it has been pretty okayish given the fact that HCL Tech has maintained its guidance at 6 to 8%. Wipro, of course, has been better than estimates rather. But for Infosys, are they expected to tighten the revenue guidance, or how should we anticipate Infosys's guidance going forward?
That's right, Anita. Guidance for Infosys is one of the key monitorables that people watch out for when they report earnings. So in April, they had given an annual revenue guidance of 4 to 7% for the current financial year. Remember, Q4, they also degrew by over minus 3% because they saw ramp downs with certain clients. So it was a very disappointing quarter. Now, as far as guidance is concerned, analysts expect them to tighten the guidance range. So instead of 4 to 7%, they are expected to guide to 4 to 6% revenue growth for the current fiscal. So they are expected to bring down the upper end of the guidance. But they are expected to maintain their EBIT margin guidance at 20 to 22%.
All right, they may tighten the revenue guidance but maintain the margin guidance. Speaking about margins, there's been a hiring slowdown all across the industry. In fact, attrition rate has also come down. How are margins expected to pan out, given the fact that I think salary increments have also been deferred by Infosys, if I'm not mistaken?
That's right. So margins are expected to be flat at 21%. That's the estimate we are seeing for EBIT margins, that they are expected to come in at 21%, which is flat compared to the previous quarter. And you're right, they have deferred hikes. In fact, we did this story last week. So we have to see the impact of that on margins in Q2. If they decide to, defer the hike by a quarter and they will absorb it in their Q2 numbers, then we have to wait and see how this will impact that. But for this quarter, we are working with flat margins of 21%.
All right, margins expected to remain flat. Lastly, Chandra, what would you be watching out for from the management commentary, given the fact that they have recently won a couple of deals, the most recent being that AI deal from an existing client worth $2 billion. Deal wins have been fairly strong across the industry, but of course it's the book to bill conversion that will be watched out for. But aside of that, what would you be watching out for? Chandra, I also want to point out that in the annual report, the word AI was mentioned somewhere around 60 times or something. So do you think AI will be a big focus area for Infosys as well?
Yeah, I mean, they will definitely talk about AI, generative AI. That's been a recurring theme for all IT companies. All of them are talking about how they are carrying out proof of work, proof of concept projects for clients. But how much of this will actually translate to revenue? Is it just FOMO, or is it quantifiable work that they are doing which will translate to revenue? That is something we'll have to wait and see. But I think yes, we will expect more clarity on that 5-year, 2 billion. Announcement that came up on stock exchanges just a couple of days ago. It was very brief. We did not have details of the client, whether this is an existing client, what the nature of work is going to be. So I think we will wait for clarity on that. To your, the first part of your question on what we will watch out for. First has to be the demand commentary, because previous quarter Infosys saw ramp downs in certain accounts, certain verticals, which impacted their Q4 performance. So, have they managed to put that behind them? Will Q1 start on a slightly better note? That is one thing to watch out for. The second one that we will watch out for is the status of wage hikes. When will it come into effect? And finally, a lot of concern around senior level exits at Infosys. They've lost, 6 to 7 people in the last 6 months to competition. So how are they really staffing the leadership bench? How are they coping with senior level exits? Has it impacted execution? These are some of the things that we will watch out for, apart from deal wins.
All right, so those are the things to watch out for. Of course, the management press conference is at 4:30 p.m. Post earnings. We will be, of course, getting you live coverage on that as well, and of course, we'll also be getting you an analysis of the numbers once they come out. With that, Chandra, thanks a lot for taking out time and joining in. Of course, let's see if we can touch base in the evening once the numbers come out. Of course, you will be at the Infi campus to cover the press conference. But with that, I think it's a wrap on this Moneycontrol live stream. Thanks a lot for watching. But don't forget to tune in at 4:15 p.m. when we get you the live coverage on Infosys' first quarter performance. Thanks a lot for watching. Stay tuned to Moneycontrol for all your other news and updates.